Hi everybody, Mark Michaels here, joined today with the director of the American Performance Horseman, Josh Valdez. Josh, welcome.
Thank you, Mark, for having us.
Well, we've been waiting for this interview for a while. I know our schedules kind of haven't quite matched up here lately, but we finally got together. We're excited because we want to talk about the American Performance Horseman, and it's coming up again here in 2024 in March at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Tell us a little bit about how this whole thing kind of came together.
The American Performance Horseman, like you said, March 8th, 2024 in Globe Life Field, came together a vision of Teton Ridge, a company that wants to share the Western lifestyle with a broader audience. And nothing's more Western than the sports of cutting, reining, and rein cow horse. So the top 5 athletes in each of these disciplines come to Globe Life Field every March and compete, not only as individuals, but as teams, for $1 million payout right there in Globe Life Field.
Yeah, and this event started out purely as a rodeo event and just had amazing success. And now with Teton coming on board as sponsors and kind of taking over the event now, they've put these these performance horse events into it, which has kind of added a whole different level now.
Of course. So Teton Ridge is, like I said, its main goal is sharing this Western lifestyle with a broader audience, and a healthy part of that is the rich history of the sports of cutting, reining, and rein cow horse.
Yeah, and I think what's, like you mentioned there, the history, and that's evolved now into a high-level sport with both the equine athletes and the riders, the trainers, the contestants themselves.
Absolutely. Last year, a very special moment, I think, for not only us at Teton Ridge, but the riders was those early morning rides at 6 a.m., seeing high-powered horses, allspice, downright amazing, shine smarter, all in that arena in Globe Life Field, an amazing venue, amazing horses, amazing riders, all at one spot. And it was culminated by a great night of competition in the arena, as well as some great entertainment, like Sheryl Crow and Darius Rucker and the Ghost Hounds.
Yeah, and that really brought the whole thing together. I mean, there was, usually at these events, whether it's reining, cutting, or cow horse, there is a little bit of downtime in between, whether it's a drag or whether it's a cattle settle. And there was no downtime during this year's event, and I think that's what made it so special. Is like it was just non-stop action, whether it was up on the stage or down in the dirt.
Yeah, our downtime and a quick note to the dirt transitions. We all know how important cattle judging and dirt is to putting on a horse show, and Jim Kaiser was a master at transferring those arenas from a high-level cutting arena to a high-level reining arena to a high-level rein cow horse arena. But while he was doing this, we had Sheryl Crow on the stage performing. You don't see this, and it's just as simple as that, Mark. It's not another horse show.
And I think that's part of that. This year is going to be different because this coming year, but this year, that was one of the questions, when you heard that leading up to the event is, will the ground be right? How are they going to get the ground right for 3 different events in that short a time? And like you said, Jim Kaiser he was a magician down there and literally worked in the dark in between the concert and the flashing lights. And next thing you know, we had a reining, we went from reining and cow horse and cutting. I mean, we had it all there. So
yeah, he's brilliant. The entire team here at Teton Ridge, it truly takes a village. And a number of us, worked many hours to make sure that that performance was unlike any other Western performance horse event of all time.
I think, going back to what you touched on earlier, just the level of the horses that we got to see there. They're celebrities themselves, and some of these horses coming out of retirement. But I think what was special, kind of behind the scenes, is seeing the Snapchats of the cutting guys talking to the reining guys, and the cow horse guys talking with the cutting guys, and they're all kind of intermingling, and they're all standing, they're all a little bit starstruck, but it brought them all together, and that's, I think, what makes this event so different.
Well, going back even a little bit further, as these athletes qualify, they select their horses and then they meet at the TR9 ranch for the first time. We take some time integrating all of these guys together. We select teams at that point. And that was another big moment this last year. The likes of Wes Gallion and Andrea Fapani, I believe those guys still text to this day, and that wouldn't happen without this event.
Yeah, well, and Andre, he just won the limited at the cow horse at the Snafflebit Futurity here last week. He's definitely hooked, and so I do think it's kind of brought these guys it's kind of opened the door for them a little bit to kind of start crossing over a little bit if they want to, and start at least having those relationships with those guys in the other disciplines, because they are all top level guys. And I think, that's one you talk about mindset and things, how they prepare for these events. Even though they're all different, they all doing the same thing, and it's a very high level that they're competing at.
Well, of course, the origins of these sports are on Western ranches in the United States, and this event really kind of was the catalyst of bringing a lot of these guys back together on an athlete level, on a breeder, on an owner level, even on an association level. This is the only event that brings the associations of NRCHA, NRHA, NCHA, and the breed associations, APHA and AQHA, together all in one night for one event, and we're very grateful to have them as partners in this event as well.
Yeah. Let's talk about the qualification process a little bit, because I know that was sometimes a little bit confusing. There were some questions on that. Can you explain that a little bit more about, like, let's say the cutting, the callus, and the reining? How do they determine those top 5 riders?
So for the cutting, it's all open, limited age money. So this doesn't include subclasses like the gilding, or the senior. It doesn't include incentive money, does not include weekend money, but it does include that limited age money for open, intermediate, and limited. For the reining, it's all categories 1 through 10, so this is your ancillary classes and your limited age. They do not count events like the Run for a Million or last year's American Performance Horseman, but again, it does count in that limited age, all levels, level 1 through 4. And then for the rein cow horse, it counts all open money, including both those horse show classes and limited age. So events like the World's Greatest Horseman, any approved open bridle, open hackamore, and any approved open futurity, open derby, and again, all levels, so open, intermediate, and limited.
Yeah, and I think, we're coming into the 2 futurities now for the reining and the cutting. We just finished up the Snafflebit futurity, and we saw some huge shake-ups in the standings there. Corey Cushing wasn't even in the top 10 standings we just posted last week. Wins over $300,000 here at the Snafflebit. Bang, he's into number 2. Automatic ticket in.
It's any person's game. This is the crown jewel of each of these disciplines. The futurity is anyways. And it's going to be exciting coming this fall with the reining futurity and the cutting futurity coming up. Last year we had some sleepers as well. Lee Deacon, for example, winning the futurity and punching his ticket in the top 5. Lindy Thorne, the exact same thing. So it's going to be a tight race no matter what, and I'd keep my eye on those standings if I was a fan of the Performance Horseman.
Yeah, and mentioning that, we get texts all the time from the guys in the cutting asking where they're sitting.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hard with the cutting. It's a little bit hard because there are so many events, and it does take a while to process all those results officially and everything else. But we're trying to keep up with it. But we kind of have a general idea. But it's been fun. But I think it's really created. It's created a drive with these guys now. They're watching to see who's going where, who's winning what. They're trying to keep up with where they're at, obviously. They're texting us, I know that. I know they must be texting the associations too. So talk about how this has helped not just the American Performance Horsemen shine, but also the associations themselves.
Well, sure. It's a great point. Teton Ridge is heavily invested in these industries. We own some of the best stallions, mares, and prospects, and we know that each of these events are necessary for that side of our business portfolio to be successful. So the American Performance Horseman is uplifting all levels of competition. Your show that you're going to go to and travel to, you may throw in 2 or 3 more horses and show them there, because every cent's going to matter when it comes down to the year end to make that top 5.
Yeah, well, there's definitely some strategies being played out. You can see that throughout the year. So I think it's going to be fun to see how the reining and the cutting kind of shakes out, and hopefully we're going to have the final standings for the cow horse here pretty soon. We've got a few more events that are going to count towards that. So it'll be fun to see that. So going back, last year's event, like we talked about, is so exciting. Is there anything different this year, or what can we look forward to this year?
Well, the main takeaways, I guess, for your traditional Western Performance Horse fan is, let's rethink the way that we highlight these great horses, these great owners, these great breeders. Teton Ridge is an innovator in this world, and we know that that these athletes need to be on a higher platform. I think a good example of that is, I'm a Formula One racing fan. I'll tune in every Sunday and I'll watch Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, but I'm never getting in that car. So for those that aren't the traditional Western Performance Horse fan, what I want them to take away is, I can go and really enjoy myself watching these athletes, these riders, at an event like the American Performance Horseman, and hopefully one day they buy a horse, they send it to a trainer, they start breeding and they start contributing to this industry on a more personal level.
Yeah. Well, I think, once again, this event is totally unique. The way it's run, the way it's presented, and the way it's held. And there is no bigger stage for any of these sports right now than in Globe Life Field at the American Performance Horseman. So it's a whole unique event. And I think if you haven't been before, it is definitely something you should experience because it's just non-stop action all night, and whether it's on the stage like we talked about earlier or down in the dirt, I mean, it's coming from everywhere, and it's a really fun event. So we hope you all tune in, and we're going to keep you updated with what's going on and who the contenders are and who the qualifiers are, and we're going to lead right into March. Well, Josh, thanks for that, and we really enjoyed, getting everybody updated on what's going on, and we can't wait to see everybody there at the 2024 American Performance Horseman.
And for tickets, you can go to theamericanrodeo.com and keep up with all the information on tickets and our entertainment for 2024.
See you there.